The simple charm of Timex's Giorgio Galli Sewn Automatic 38. Waterburys, Weekenders, Marlins, and M79s have all found their way into my collection as impulse control has weakened. In my burgeoning collection of budget buys as my watch box has filled up with both quartz and mechanical Timex watches, I have both been surprised and have grown accustomed to Timex's general high level of quality control. Of the 7 Timex watches that have entered my collection recently, none have suffered from the aesthetic flaws or alignment issues that plague other mass-market producers of mechanical watches in the $500 and below range. So it's fair to say that at this point I associate a certain degree of quality when I buy a new Timex, which is partially why my ownership experience of the Giorgio Galli Sewn Automatic 38 has been so surprising to me. It's not that the watch has been subpar in any way, shape, or form. Instead, I've been, once again, surprised at the level of quality Timex is able to offer for the price. At $450, I anticipated it would be a charming watch in a wearable case. You can't ask for much more in the sub-$500 space. What I ended up with is one of the nicest and most interesting three-handed watches anywhere, under $1,000. First, you should understand what the watch is. The Giorgio Galli Sewn Automatic 38 was created by Timex's longtime Milan-based creative director, Galli himself, to set a new high standard within the company's product families. He started out by using the sorts of premium materials he's unable to use on the company's more entry-level fare. Things like the double-dome sapphire crystals, and applied hour markers on the no-date dial. He designed a brand new case profile, using injection-molded 316L stainless steel, with interesting hollowed-out lugs that add visual depth and create a complex frame that's unlike anything else I've seen at the $500 price point. I purchased the dark gray version of the Galli Sewn 38, which is dramatically described as Iceland stone, for myself, from the Hodinkey shop. Shortly after, I recently spoke with Galli for a story on his background in the watch industry and the success of the collection that bear. I was intrigued by what exactly a high-end, but not too high-end, Timex could be. The new 38 case size was released late last year after the Sewn was initially released in 41, back in 2019. The case itself incorporates a number of different polished and brushed finishes depending on how you look at it. For instance, the bezel is brushed from a top-down perspective, while from the side it has a nice polished look. On the wrist, the Sewn wears slightly smaller than its 38 in diameter suggests. The downward sloping lugs and average 11 thickness ensure a compact wearing experience that channels a full-on Goldilocks experience just right. The dark gray dial has a light sunburst finish that complements the overall serious aesthetic. Timex is generally a company that operates with a sense of humor, but the Galli 38 has a sober presence that hints at the seriousness of the product. Timex wants to make it clear that the Sewn is no laughing matter. One interesting choice that I think we can all appreciate is Timex's decision to place a synthetic ruby above the 6 o'clock hour marker. The choice might seem to be a rather rudimentary decoration at first, but it's actually a hint at the mechanical movement inside. Instead of typing out unnecessary text on the dial surface, the inset ruby lets you know this is a different breed of Timex than you might be used to seeing. The Sewn's mechanical nature contains, in my opinion, the watch's final big surprise. It's no shocker that the Sewn 38 uses a self-winding Japanese Miyota 9039 caliber inside. Timex frequently calls on the mass-market maker. Nor is it surprising that Timex has opted for an exhibition case back. What has blown my mind is actually the finish on the Miyota. We typically like to grouse about entry-level watch brands using exhibition casebacks on movements that generally don't deserve it. Sure, they can be fun to look at for a neophyte, but the aesthetics of an unfinished, mass-produced watch just aren't appealing once you've started to dip your toes into the world of watch enthusiasm. The Sewn 38 addresses that. It utilizes a lightly brushed finish that, if you squint, looks just like a traditional, delicate Swiss Côte de Genève decoration. I'm sure it's done by machine, and if you look too closely, the illusion disappears. But the overall aesthetic holds up. It's genuinely one of the nicer attempts at movement decoration that I've seen on a mass-produced watch for under $500.